following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.
No, you've worried about having a monster sitting underneath your bed? At least this one's out in public. The Monster Mile, Dover Motor Speedway, virtually on iRacing. We get ready to go racing. It's round number 9 of this Sim500 NCA11.org Cup Series season as we get ready for 160 laps around this 1 mile track that's banked at 24 degrees in the corners, 9 degrees on the straightaways, and pretty much picks its winners each and every race that we have here. We welcome you in. I am the captain. As 160 laps coming up here in just a few minutes. Kevin England, of course, joins us. Kevin, this is a monster of a track, pun totally intended, as a track that was built way back in the 60s. Of course, has a horse track in the middle, was asphalt. They tore up the asphalt, put concrete in because the cars were so heavy and was just tearing up the asphalt, so they had to put the concrete in, and it's been there since 1995. And people call this one of their favorite tracks to race at, but it's one where you might not want to eat before you race because things will come out of your stomach pretty quickly.
Yeah, one of my favorite tracks to go to. I've been here several times and also race. It's a driver's track. It takes finesse. You somewhere get lost in racing the racetrack, but you still have to have situational awareness of anybody that's alongside, in front, or right behind you. And man, coming off the corners and not losing the car while trying to carry the speed, and you're in the slip, which means you're just sideways until the car squares up to the straightaway. I can't think of any different characteristic of a racetrack, too, the way the banking is on the front straightaway and how narrow the track is. I'm telling you, this place is a blast to drive. If you're a driver, you're going to love Dover.
I agree 100%. That everything you said there is spot on. With the 24 degrees of banking, the self-cleaning track that it has here at Dover, the straightaways. I mean, if you spin at this track, you're hitting something 9 times out of 10. Unless your name's Jimmy Johnson, if you spin, you're going to hit something. So, but this track, I mean, just has so many features to it. And you said drivers love racing it. I love racing at it. I'm not that good at it, but I enjoy racing at it. If there's any kind of downfall to it, it can be very tough to pass. So the one thing we hope for today, as 2 cars go spinning past my screen, is that the track widens out and opens up the opportunity for passing.
Yeah, actually, passing is one of those art forms where you get behind a car and you want to run them down in the corner. And in time, tire wear, we're going to talk about tire wear all night long here. If you drive the car down into the corner to the bottom of the apex, you can make speed down there, but you scrub that right front. If you're late on entry and turn the car down, you could come off straight, but somebody can get a nose underneath you. And it's just a challenge to try and figure out how to get command of the racetrack. And oh, by the way, how about mileage? You know, the gas mileage. Do you do it in 2 stops? Do you do it in 1? How do the cautions fall? The chance of the dynamic of this race switching up in an instant is just astonishing. And you have no idea. Every race is going to be a little bit different. And you have to take it as it comes and try and figure out how to win the chess match.
Well, you mentioned fuel mileage and stuff. It really hasn't been a factor yet. But as you see, and it seems like it's been the opposite lately, I talk about the races that have been clean and green mostly, and they've kind of turned into some wreckfest, so to say, or having a few more cautions. So today I look over here at the history. This is the 11th race here at Dover in this series. They've had 8 different winners, and we've not had a race with less than 3 cautions. Notice I said less than 3 cautions. So we've had 4, we've had 5, we've had 6, we've had 7. One race had 12. We'll have to see. Anything can happen. Of course, that's going to change things up because this is one of those tracks. I'm one of those, I like to do what the opposite driver leader does out there on the track. I take those kind of chances. Dover, on the other hand, I have one specific strategy and one specific strategy only, and that is I will be the last car to pit because I'm going to make sure I get that track position if the caution comes out, because if not, you are likely trapped 1.5, if not 2 laps down when it's all said and done.
I thought you were going to say survive.
That too.
Because
That's part of that.
That's rule number 1, survive. It's so easy to whack the wall and get, damage. It's so easy to make contact with someone else. Even a safe pass carries a lot of risk trying to get around someone that you run up on them. And let's not forget, with the differing pit strategies and stuff, we're going to have cars on fresh tires, cars on old tires. I really believe we're going to see a little bit of everything here tonight at Dover.
It is going to be fun. Right now, though, time to qualify. And, of course, our qualifying is presented by 811, know it's below, and call before you dig. And let's get out there on the track for the 2 laps. And they're going to be really fast laps around here with one of the fastest cars in practice here. Mark Jorgensen is out on track right now. And let's see what he can do as he goes down the back straightaway, dives it into the canyons of turn 3 and 4. And obviously, I think the second lap's going to be fastest here, but I don't know. With tire wear, it could be very tricky.
Rolls right down the banking, lets the car come up, turns it off, tries to get down to the apex, don't touch the apron, drives off to the back straightaway. And from that standpoint, I'm not sure. First lap, second lap, it's all in how you throw it in there. I love the way the light glares off the number on that car. So cool.
23:48 right now for Comstock, and Jorgensen goes up there with a 26 to the pole. As I mentioned, lap times are going to go pretty quickly here. As Van Schaik goes 23:43, Alan Wild out on track, Rod Minton and others. Here's the first-time winner from last week at Talladega. All these years of racing hard and trying to get himself to victory lane. He finally pulled it off last week at Talladega on the Cup side. And Tyler Dalton, momentum going to carry him? Not so much. 23:40, P7.
Yeah. I'll tell you the driver I'll look to tonight from last year, 42 laps led, and he was at the racetrack yesterday. Took in the event at Dover Motor Speedway, and there's nothing... I remember being at Pocono on a Sunday afternoon and coming back to race it on Sunday night, and it's just such a cool connection to be live at the racetrack and then come back and race it. The number 30 of Macklin's going to be one to keep an eye on here
and
tonight.
He is crossing the start-finish line right now as you talk about him, and he is just getting his lap started here, so we'll get to watch his whole entire lap here as he goes down the back straightaway and down into turn number 3. Climbs up that banking, which tells me he's probably going to run the second lap as his fast lap around here as he crosses the start-finish line. Look for this to be down towards the bottom of the board as he is 23rd with a 23:69, but here he is, diamond in the corner, brings it back down to the bottom. And, Kev, that's going to be probably our drinking word of the night, if you will. Soda water drinking word is diamonding.
Dive bar? Is that what you mean?
You can go with that, too, if you'd like to. As Kevin Kingsman jumped to the pole, he was purple, both sectors likely. There he goes, 23:17. And Brian Macklin goes 23:30 in P4. I saw Kevin was purple as he was crossing the line there. So King continuing that momentum and looks like might be the pole sitter right now.
Yeah, it sure looks that way. Good run for Mike Kelly, currently sitting provisionally in 3rd. Macklin is 4th right now. His extra lap was able to pull it through. So, I think there's two. I'm almost going to be weird in this. I want to start up front. I want the track position. I want clean air. We know how important that's going to be. Yet, given the way the cautions fall and all the dynamics, it's not a lock. You could start out back and win this race, and you could race your way out into a win tonight from deep in the field. We've seen it happen in the past, and the question is, how will the strategy play out? If you behave, and if you can get 10 to 12 laps in, then things are going to settle out, and we'll get conveyor belt racing here with competition going on all over the place. So we just have to see what kind of race we're going to get tonight.
Well, it looks like Kevin King is going to be the pole sitter here tonight with a 23.18. A lot of cars either not running qualifying laps or knocking the wall down during qualifying. So we'll recap all that and more. But first, we're going to go trackside for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, the grid is set as we get ready for 160 laps of racing here at the virtual Monster Mile on iRacing. We take a look at the starting lineup here. Kevin King, the points leader, on the pole here with a pretty fast lap, 23.17. He'll start alongside Mark Jorgensen Jr., continues to qualify well. Mike Kelly, who, man, he's had a rough weekend, but hopefully he can put it in victory lane here tonight. He did win the he did not win the Dover race. I got it mixed up earlier this season with the Xfinity side with Brian Macklin. Justin Fuller, Robert Friery III, the newest winner, 204th winner in this series history last night at Milwaukee. He starts there in the 6th position. Donnie Leah, Justin Mons there in row 4. Rod Mitten and Nelson Rivera there in row 5. Wesley Donaldson and Jose Funky Cole Medina there, row 6. Jose Gonzalez, Tyler Dalton, row 7. Kevin Brown, Scott Simley, row 8. Charles Van Scheidt, Chad Coleman. Bobby Wetzel, Tony Benfield, Nick Jobs, David Comstock, Joe Hudson, Mike Montesi, Alan Wild, Scott Stenzel, Joey Jatina, Anthony Calantoni, EJ O'Rourke, Cody Giles, Beasley, Stone, Parker, Colby, Coleman, Roccolasso. Got 42 cars here. And those rest of those guys there did not qualify down to Gerald Livingston in the 42nd position. 160 laps, iRacing default weather as per usual. 3 sets of tires, 2 overtimes if needed. And, of course, the league info at Sim500.com, including a Super Speedway series on Tuesday nights. Oh, by the way. All right. Going to roll off turn number 4 to track that you're going to see if we get yellows, we'll pick up the rubber. Otherwise, it's going to lay it down, and this track will likely spread out as we go. But right now, it is time to take the green, the Monster Mile. Race 9, green from Dover.
King immediately jumps out front, comes down to the bottom line. You got Brian Macklin in 4th up to the high side as they're nose to tail coming off turn 2 for the first time. Here comes the 51 of Justin Fuller side by side with Macklin. He's going to take over the 4th position as King leads him off turn number 4 to lead lap number 1.
King leading lap 1. You see single file the first 2 or 3 positions. And in first side-by-side battle right there, Donnie Leah, Robert Friery, that is at the 6th position. Donnie in that Mobil 1 number 20 car. Friery, you wonder if that momentum is really going to pick up after that win last night at the Milwaukee Mile. And the first ever visit, by the way, for the Xfinity cars to that track. As Jorgensen gets almost up in the wall, and here comes Kelly looking. Got cars scrambling over there into turn 1.
Yeah, everybody trying to get down to the bottom line, and the early going, that's the place to be. Let your car settle in. Plenty of grip before those tires start to give up a little bit. Saw the 92 of Rod Midden running in the 11th position come up a little high. They took a peek underneath it, but he settled back in there behind the 91. He's following Wesley Donaldson, who's currently holding down the 10th position.
Yeah, the word I heard of the night here, I know I mentioned a different word earlier, but the other word I'm hearing from drivers tonight is tight. Cars tight this evening here around this track, so you wonder how much the dirty air is going to play a role, especially if you're not Kevin King. Obviously, you don't want to hit that wall, and you just got to be very patient. As Anthony Calantoni, unscheduled pit stop, is over here coming to pit road. Not sure what this is about for the 84 car.
I wonder if he popped the wall somewhere along the line, and that is the reason to go in.
It looks like right front.
Penalty? Yeah, I think he popped the wall. Got loose, hit the right side against the wall. That was lap number 2. I think he just came up, and I'm not sure whether he lost it or didn't anticipate the car behind him, which is the 7 of Joey Stone, but they made contact, both of them, hard contact to the right side. And Calantoni heading to pit road.
Looks like it's already happened here. I'm trying to show a replay of it, but unfortunately, he's just off the pace at that moment. So, tough break here for the driver who, as you mentioned, was just at the track enjoying himself yesterday. He and, I forget the other guy that was in the photo with him. It was Charles Van Schuyck.
Yeah, Van Schuyck was there also. Saw that.
Oh, right there, he got hooked. Big time into the wall. Oh, wow. Yeah, good call on your part.
That whack to that right front tire, that's the death knell. That tire is broken. The car will not steer, and I'm telling you, you might be able to get away sometimes with some of the damage. They'll tell you you have tire damage and you could just limp around here, but not this place. You put so much load on that tire that the right front, for him especially, the car just will not turn.
As we complete lap number 8, Calantoni still on pit road. You saw Rivera to the inside of Fuller, takes that spot away in that 22 car, and then he gets loose. Here comes Fuller back to his inside. Obviously, Fuller been carrying a lot of momentum. Probably had one of his worst finishes last night, though I'm not going to call it one of his worst runs because he had a fast car last night, but unfortunately it didn't work out for him.
Last year in May, the 22 was a pole sitter, led the first good stint of this race. We expect to see some speed out of Nelson Rivera here tonight in that number 22.
Already going by to pass, or to complete lap number 10. Donnie Leah up to the 2nd position already after starting 7th. That 20 car looking pretty sporty there as he just passed Jorgensen for P2 as he moves his way up through the field, and already seeing some movers at the back of the field here. Cody Giles, a little new look tonight, raceplex.com, number 5. He's up to 23rd after starting 30th in this race. And we got caution, Joe Hudson, who was, and I saw so much struggle out of this man in the practice. I mean, he was having all types of issues. Has spun the Best Buy car on the back straightaway.
Yeah, I was just going to say about how you exit turn 2 especially. It is just treacherous over there to try and keep the car underneath you. If you pick up the throttle a little too quick, the car will step out. And as it goes left from the back end, as soon as you start to try and correct it, it'll hook and go right into the outside wall.
Oh, yeah, right there. Bam, right in front of Wortman, too.
Yeah, you know, you could say what you want. He's not the first, or he's not the last to do that tonight. I promise you that. We're going to see drivers coming out of turn 2 and turn 4 all night long. and they are going to be sideways trying to catch the car. We'll see drivers sliding down the backstretch to the inside wall as the self-cleaning banking will take them down there as they try to wrestle the thing back under control. And the first one to be bitten by Monster the Mile is Joe Hudson as he pulls his Best Buy Toyota in for service. And look, there's a whole host of cars that have come in here.
Yeah, it looks like about 5 or 6 cars. Nick Jobs, Sigmund Hudson, who's got damage. Joey Stone, who's probably got damage from the contact with Callan Tony. And then, of course, Jimmy Coleman on pit road also in the 54. So those takers here early. Remember, you only have 3 sets of tires, so you got to use them wisely here. 160-lap race, you want to be able to at least get 40 out of each set.
Can't be doing that, right?
Yeah, so 13 is not 40. So, I mean, if you were to pit right now, you would leave yourself with 2 sets of tires for 147 laps, which means you would have to run, let me do my quick math here, roughly 72 laps on a set of tires, which I'd rather not at Dover. No. Just no.
Yeah, I mean, the fuel window is 79 now, but you know, there's something odd about the tire wear on this track. If you don't abuse the tires, your fall off doesn't come that badly. And you could potentially try to engineer some sort of, you know, if you top it off now, if you're out in the back, you might be able to engineer some sort of swap out where the field gets flip-flopped due to strategy. This is what I was talking about on the opening, although Joe Hudson's still sitting down there fixing the damage as the pace car goes by. He's going to be off the lead lap here after this caution is over.
Yeah, Gerald Livingston coming to pit road now, and you see Doug Sigmund there. But Kevin King, of course, won the pole here this evening for the race, and didn't get a chance to show you the point standings. So let's do this really quickly and show you the point standings as we entered this afternoon's race or evening, whatever you want to call it. Kevin King leads by 26 over Tyler Dalton, Chad Coleman, Mike Kelly, and Anthony Calantoni, who, of course, is having a rough race already, sitting there P5. 20 drivers make the playoffs here. It's only race 9, and this season's a lot longer than the Xfinity side, so we got plenty of time to go. But you look at the bubble, it's where Jose Gonzalez has Macklin by 2. And, of course, plenty of time, as I mentioned, to go as I show you the top 30 there in the standings. But as they say, Kev, and you know this being a racer yourself, it is a lot easier to lose points than to gain them back.
It sure is. It's a tough climb sometimes to get yourself out of a hole. And sometimes you try to race even harder when you're in that hole.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to learn to reset. You know, you get yourself in, like, let's use Wesley Donaldson for an example here. Of course, he wins that race at Atlanta earlier this season. And then otherwise, until last week, did absolutely nothing this season. He's had all types of struggles, won everything at Daytona before the actual 500. But, you know, he's had rough luck. So sometimes when you have something like that, you're sitting 30th in points after 5 weeks or 6 weeks. It's almost that part where you push reset and say, you know what? A top 20 finish will make me happy tonight. And that's all you go for.
Yeah, I remember last year's champion having that same kind of conversation, saying he was just chasing it too hard. When he finally stopped chasing it, things turned around for him.
Yeah, and then he went on a winning spree that took him right to Phoenix in the final week of the season, win the championship. So, all right, pace car back in. We'll go back racing here at lap number 15 here at the Monster Mile packed house, just like the actual Cup race yesterday. Is got to be careful of the wheel spinnage and bring it up out of the banking and into turn 1. Jorgensen falling back a little bit, back to the 5th position there. After his great start, there's Mitten hitting the outside wall. Very easy to do here. You just lose your marks through the corner and the car can just slide right up there and hit that wall. Again, you're diving into a corner and then plunging out of it, if you will.
Yeah, I have my word to bring right now, which is trust. You're on the bottom line and you have somebody to the outside. You have to trust that the driver picking up the throttle coming up off the bottom is not going to wash out and take you down. And for a period of time, for a couple laps, you see side by side until things settle down and you kind of slot in where you belong, and then you mount the attack to the car in front of you while trying to protect behind. These are tedious times after these restarts. Now, a lot of drivers know that there's opportunity here too, and if they can use that low line, which I think is the preferred way to go on the restarts, that might be able to gain a little ground. It's so hard to pass at times.
Fuller!
So you will get it when you get it on the restart.
Fuller tail whipped the wall over in the inside of the front straightaway. Keeps it straight. Not sure how much damage he's going to have on the left rear. But he kissed that inside wall and has to recollect it.
Yeah, and he did the classic up off the corner, car breaks loose, it goes down to the gray area. I think he just kissed it, he'll be fine.
Here's your replays. He comes off turn 4. He's just peeking outside of Kelly there, trying to cross him over. Probably a little too much wheel there, and oh yeah, that's a scrape. Tis nothing but a scratch.
Yeah. I think when he turned it down and picked up the throttle, he just carried too much speed on that right rear, and he broke traction, and the car stepped out on him.
The old tight loose. He was so tight turning the wheel that eventually the front tires gripped and yeet. Yes, I just said the Harvick word.
Yeet.
So, yeah.
I see his car stepping out too, which is a characteristic. If you heat those tires out in one of those slides, you're going to take about 4 or 5 laps of punishment where that right rear is tight and the car will not turn and it'll just keep breaking out. You need to just settle down and let the car come back to temperature for you.
Track's very inviting to carry speed off of the corner, and that's where you see a lot of these cars will literally come off the turn and be up the track, and then you see them have to almost turn down back off of the wall. You see almost every lap somebody's going to do it. And right there's one car doing it right there. So, and you got to be careful of that because that's where the back end tries to snap around on you. Everybody,
yeah, I'm pretty sure, Chris, that you're going to see the drivers who are driving down the banking right now, running, a half a lane off of the apron. As the race goes on, they're going to turn in later. They'll ride the banking up in the top when the car doesn't want to turn. And then they'll turn down the banking, the age-old drop how many floors conversation about Dover, but I think it's not so much about how much the cars drop from the straightaway down into the 30-plus degree banking, but the way the banking falls away on the corner that provides more of a challenge here.
As Kevin King's led every lap so far, but Donnie Leo's right there on his tail, and I believe he answers 2 stories. But hey, appreciate the viewers checking us out here this evening on the Captain Esports Network. If you're new to the channel, of course, you can hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, we appreciate you coming back as you see Leah put the pressure on the different styles of racing this track. You can carry the throttle through the center of the corner. You can let the car roll around the corner. Either way works. And then you're going to hear the term diamond tonight. That was that other word I was talking about earlier. And if you're a short track driver, you know what that is. If you're somebody that's used to running these cup cars, you might not know the term too well. And Kevin, I'm going to let you teach them. Diamonding the corner.
Yeah, you turn the car in, but you don't hold it down on the bottom. You're going to let it roll up just a little bit, and then the car will eventually slow down. The wheels will grip. You'll be able to turn it, and then you turn and drive down the banking to the bottom of the corner on exit.
Caution.
Yellow flag flies.
Fuller. Trying to click on him. There he is.
Yeah, sitting backwards on the backstretch, right where you expect them to be, right? If they have trouble off the corner, they end up on the fence, out in the backstretch, and luckily they don't take a bunch of cars with them.
I mean, Fuller had a dominant car last night in the Xfinity race at the Milwaukee Mile. Unfortunately, carnage broke loose at the end of that race, and things happened, and he had a rough finish, and it looks like tonight, unfortunately, the luck coming with him here. Let's see what happens this time on the back straightaways on the inside of Rod Mitten. He's got the 12 of Scott Simley there behind him.
I think he got a little of the apron there.
Oh, did I know? And then Simley just said, look, man, sorry, buddy.
Coming through. Pardon me, excuse me, coming through. Hold your popcorn.
Wait, is that the yeet? Unfortunate caution out there, and yeah, just you wonder if, as we do got about half the field coming to pit road, we'll update that here in a second as I try to get this thing to cooperate with me. Let's go to the crash cam here because You remember the Rock a couple weeks ago? We had the cars that were bottoming out, coming out of the corner. I don't think we're getting a similar thing here, but oh yeah, he clipped the apron. Good call.
Apron.
Yep,
Yeah, you
apron
hit the
did it.
apron and you're toast. Especially if you're picking up the throttle.
Not too hard of contact to the inside wall there either.
I think he hit the wall when he was trying to turn around too, which added insult to injury.
Well, he'll come to pit road along with Colby, Minton, Livingston, Montesi, Jatina, Yoakum, Jobs, Rodelasso, and some of those cars that were damaged before are on pit road. So here we go with the pit strategy calls. Tyler Dalton going to go to the lead of the race, and there's the boss man, Joey Jatina, clean Chesterton number 14 car. The was that Turner Supply there on the hood.
Dalton stayed out to pick some bonus points, and now he's going to be deep in the field here.
This is
Or
where
maybe he's
you
going to save a set of tires. That's another strategy.
well,
I thought he might head to pit road, but looks like he's going to lead him back to green.
let's break it down again here as we're 30 laps in now, so 130 laps to go, which is 65 on a set of tires the rest of the way. So that's a little bit better, but I mean, if I can get 40 a piece on a run or 50 a piece, I'm good with that. I say that because these tires they wear, especially on that right front. I don't know, did I save the camera last week? I don't remember if I did. I broadcast so many, there we go. There's a little bit of it, but not sure how much we're going to see of this. It's still an experiment for me of what we're going to see, but right now you're just seeing the tire moving and stuff. It's going to be more of a better camera to use when we're stopped on pit road. But now we'll see how the wear looks at tonight. I think if we get a long green flag run and start seeing pit stops, then it could get interesting, I think, when it's all over with. So hello, Jameson Campbell Sr. and also Mr. Jason Atomic Burrito. It's our people, Kevin. Our people.
Our peeps. Yep.
Didn't I see Stoney in the race tonight? So I would think, where's Stoney's people? Yeah, Stoney's up here in the 6th position right now. The faster pastor. Saw him get a little shout out on the NC811 page earlier this week.
Did you see the shout out for Kevin King?
I did
This
not.
week?
Did I miss that?
There was a very interesting, I want to say DJ Yee or something.
Oh.
Hold on, let me
All right,
see.
go ahead. I'm like, wait a minute, another yeet?
Yeah. DJ Yay J
Okay.
did a How Sim Racing Forgotten Champion Returned 20 years later. It was a feature on Kevin King. They talked about racing in NASCAR 2003 and getting into DMP, which of course from a history standpoint is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Premier League that was like the Coke Series before there was a Coke Series. And one of the funny, interesting things was they showed the footage from the golden days, my heydays, and Kevin was racing, and in that race was Donnie Leah.
Nice.
And here we are 20 plus years later, and the two were running nose to tail for the lead, and it's just full circle. Really cool feature. Victory lap, How Sim Racing's Forgotten Champion Returned 20 years later. Check that out on YouTube. It features Kevin King.
That's a pretty cool deal there. As we go back green, as Tyler Dalton leads, EJ O'Rourke is up in the EJ lane. Up top there trying to make passes. As, Dalton Gonzalez, Kevin Brown, Van Schaik, your top 4. And I can't help but be distracted right now by a dinosaur. I know that's kind of an interesting connection to an article that features people that have been racing here for 20 years, but I'm not going anywhere near that. I'm going near Jose Medina. That 24 car. As caution's going to come out, we'll come back and talk about that here in a second. There's a story behind this whole thing. As Robert Fryer is in the outside wall. Last night's winner.
Yeah, sitting backwards over there at the end of turn 3. That's a unique place to end up.
I mean, it's better than what Joey Logano looked like years ago. So let's see what happens to... What's that?
I was there for that.
Interesting day for him.
Just get tagged, possibly?
Oh, he got loose, and he's trying to hold on to her, and Minton finishes it off. Minton with the inside wall hard. Jobs with damage. I think Joey Jatina had to drive through there a little bit.
Kevin Stone bounced his way through it, but was able to clear it.
Look at this one more time. Look how he just got loose off of 2, and then the 92 just unfortunately had to send her packing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when you pick up the throttle there every once in a while, even if you're not trying to, it just surprises you, and car will turn sideways, and it's near impossible to gather it up. I don't know why it's so hard at this racetrack to try and straighten yourself out.
Add Kevin Stone to the list of damaged cars in that wreck, so it looks like 4 or 5 cars. As Bryant Wortman's going to get the waiver on here real quickly. Let's jump back to the story while we're under caution. So let's get a close-up on this car. And let's see if anybody recognizes the 24, which, by the way, is... Oh, I thought he was on pit road, and he's not. Where's Jose? He was up here at the top. There he is. 13th position. I was distracted by this under caution. I was like, wait a minute here. Anybody recognize that car? There's a story behind it.
Oh, yeah. I know what that is.
That is the Jurassic Park Jeff Gordon car from 1997, I believe it is, that he ran in the All-Star race.
Yep.
That is the race that had the rear bumper cover ripped off of it in a caution. That car ended up being faster than lightning after that. And NASCAR pretty much said, look, dude, this is an all-star race. We're just going to kind of turn our shoulder to this. But Ray, don't ever bring this car back to the track.
Yeah, a lot of heritage about that car.
It's kind of like the 81 Buick, the car that Bobby Allison drove to a, I can't remember if you want to, it was the Gray Ghost. It was the 81 Buick car that year. It was the number 28. It had that shortened back window back in the day. It was the new Gen, I think it was a Gen 3 car. And they brought it to Daytona, and it was faster than all get out. It ended up winning the next week at Rockingham. And NASCAR kind of was like, look, we don't see anything illegal on this car. Because at that time, Gary Nelson had just taken over running NASCAR, and he was putting his foot down on everything. And he's like, I don't see anything technically wrong with this car, but do me a favor, don't bring it back.
We'll bring it back, yeah.
But,
Ray was one of our guys. We used to see him every week. He raced at Flemington with us till he got injured at Flemington in turn 4. And that took him to NASCAR. Just wrote a book and released all the news about that. But he was one of our local guys. We saw him every week. Used to see him race at Wall Stadium and some of the other places too before he went national scene.
Yeah, Ray did a lot of interesting things, and I'm sure it's all in his book. I know he's opened up on Junior's podcast about things he's done that might not be so legal, but everybody does that now.
The iRock really cool. The
Yeah.
chapters there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, how about Tyler Dalton holding on here? He's up 13 from his starting position, and even with the worn tires in clean air, if you could just pick and choose your lane and keep the car going in the right direction, you can carry a lot of speed out front, and we'll see whether this is going to pay off. He still did not opt to go to pit road, and right behind him is Mr. Long Run, Jose Gonzalez, currently running second. So we'll see if the two of these guys can hold everybody at bay. They've got older tires from those behind them, but with a little bit of tire wear. One of the things we know, Chris, I ran this race 3 times this week, cycling the tires is not kind. When the tires cool off, they don't have a lot of grip after you've run them and they're a little bit worn. You really need to let the car settle in, and it never seems to turn as well after the fact. So I'm curious to see whether the strategy of keeping the track position for Dalton and Gonzalez and some of the others is going to play off here.
Well, the good news is they have 13 cars between them and Kevin King. So there's plenty of buffer room here. As we go back green here, Kevin King's all the way back there in row number 7. Now, you might wonder why Dover is that way. Again, concrete track, which means the track has a lot of seams in it. And I'm not talking about the horizontal joints, as they call them, that open and close, kind of like being on a bridge on the highway. But I'm talking about the seams and the cracks in the track. All the rubber goes into that part of the track, but it doesn't settle like you see on the asphalt. So these cars come around under caution in hot tires, pretty much become, oh, who's that heading down there? Is that Stoney? what a save on his part. But basically what I'm saying real quickly is the warm tires pretty much become flypaper, if you will, or something sticky. It just picks everything right back up the track when it's under caution. So what probably happened to you is that similar situation, is you picked up all the rubber off the track and couldn't get the tires cleaned off because, well, let's face it, it's impossible. And you have issues. Look at this.
We're going to have to come up for a term. Lowrider. That's what we're going to call it when they come off the corner and end up trying to chase the car down. I saw Medina.
Oh, 3-1 to 3.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's another streamer I know pretty well whose name I cannot remember off the top of my head. But everybody hit the wall off turn 4.
Yeah.
But he always had determined, he'd throw it out there when I'd race with him. He'd put out there, I dropped the Hot Pocket. That's kind of what I go with. He dropped some kind of food item or something out there, or maybe he had to get rid of his water bottle. Josh Parker started in the back. Once again, 33rd, battling the New York Mets machine of Jose Gonzalez. Saw a really cool video. By the way, happy birthday to Gary Cohen, one of the best broadcasters in all of baseball. He covers the Mets and also covers St. John's basketball, and you'll hear him a lot during the NCAA tournament on the radio. But Gary Cohen celebrating a birthday today. I remember seeing that on social media. Got to watch one of his calls on TV yesterday from the booth. It was, they showed a YouTube video. It was really cool.
I heard him say that Kyle Busch showed up at a racetrack and called the call on flow racing.
He did. Dirt track, I think it was.
Yeah, one of ours up here in the Northeast. I just saw Scott Stenzel against the outside wall at a turn number 4. I was wondering here if Donnie Leah would be able to keep pace with Kevin King carving through the field on those new tires. King may or may not have had the advantage based on the road that he started. Sometimes on these restarts, if you start on the inside, you know, you have more room to maneuver, where on the outside you get boxed in. I didn't pay attention to where they started, but King is one position up and working on another. He's just sliding down underneath as he gets 2 away from Donnie Leah, but I suspect that Donnie Leah is going to try and keep Kevin in sights, but he's blocked in. Is he going to make it 3 wide? Yes, he is.
Oh, that got close. Almost got hooked.
That's not as close as you could clear it is. I have to think that Donnie, being a Northeast dude, has to have an affinity. I don't know how you feel about this, but just the way that Kansas is associated with Clint Boyer, because that's his place. Yellow.
Caution. Stony Benfield, Robert Friery. Over here in 3 and 4. Or 1 and 2. One of these quarters.
The entry to 1 at the exit of pit road, they are.
And I think I heard that through your audio. Did somebody say thank you, rear end?
Oh, I didn't hear it.
I thought I heard that.
But there is a slight. I'm listening to the driver channel.
Oh man, let's get a replay. But I think somebody had somebody to thank after that. Let's see how this goes.
It's funny. Maybe I turned that down, so no unintended consequences.
I mean, I heard it in my ears, so no telling if it got on the air. Now, I mean, everything else is so loud. Let's see. Stoney on the outside here, and contact with Robert. And Robert, wow, 45 was plowing in there.
Wow.
Gerald Livingston gets some more damage.
Mark Schrader got a piece of that as he went through. Welcome to Sim500.
Right. Which he started last night, and I see him tonight in a Red Bull paint scheme. And a lot more cars coming to pit road here. Let's get the far chase cam, the wreck cam, or crash cam as I call it.
I'm not really clear as to why he came down there, but it did. If I have to see the way that looked, it did look like he came down, and I'm just not sure if he was aware. Had to know the 77 was under him.
Wonder if it's one of those he was trying to clear himself off the wall a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. That's a tough situation.
We talked about the slide up off the corner. I mean, you sometimes inadvertently just chase a car all the way down the straightaway. Yeah. You could chase the car to the start-finish line and go, come on, you're driving a car, wheeling the thing, Nobody else is none the wiser, but you're just hanging on by your shorts there, trying to make sure that you keep it off the wall.
So it looks like about 3/4 of the field came to pit road, with Josh Parker being the first one off of pit road here at lap 47. We'll come back and recap everything going on, but let's pay some bills here real quickly and step away as you're watching Sim500 and the NC811.org Cup Series.
This tree is going to look great here.
Did you call 811 to protect your underground utilities?
I can't wait to see these roses come up.
Dig, dig, dig! Wait, we forgot to call 811.
Before you dig, make sure you can. Call 811 to know what's below. It's up to all of us to protect the ones we love.
All right, back we are here at Dover Motor Speedway, virtually at iRacing. We are 49 laps in, under caution for the fourth time here, as Kevin King back to the front as we see the rotation now start to happen. Basically, all the cars that pitted at the lap 28 caution have jumped to the lead now, which is 10 cars. So King, Leah, Donaldson, Rivera, Macklin, Kelly, Montesi, Fuller, Rondolasso, and Kevin Stone. Those are all the cars that pitted there at 28. The rest of the field came to pit road under this yellow. So Josh Parker, he'll restart 11th after pitting at this caution. Tyler Dalton, Kevin Brown, Gonzalez, Coleman, all the way back here to Doug Sigmund, who's the last car on the lead lap. And I believe Joey Jattina, by the way, got the lucky dog there. So shout out there to the boss man who's fighting it there in the Turner Supply Chesterton Ford.
I have to say that the conversation we had on the get-go so far has proven out. They've slid off, they've hit the wall, they've done damage.
Well, she's a
The
self-clear.
field has shifted. I mean, all of the dynamics that we talked about, it's run-of-the-mill, typical Dover, and that's what makes it great as a racetrack to watch. I'm telling you, when you sit in the stands here, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. But in the sim racing world, there's never a want for action.
So I want to go back to the 1981 story real quickly for those who don't know. I'm just kind of reading up on it, make sure I had it right. So Bobby Allison took the Gray Ghost. It was a Buick, and of course the Gen 3 car they had just released, and it had a wheelbase of 110 inches, obviously down from 115. Made its debut in the race. He dominated Speed Week, won the pole, Twin 125, and basically, and I said Buick earlier, it's actually a Pontiac he was driving. It was a 1981 Pontiac Le Mans, and it had a fastback sloped rear window where everybody else's rear kind of had like a more of a gently sloped car, kind of like you see in these next gen cars. His went pretty much vertical almost, and yeah, improved the aerodynamics and downforce on the spoiler and all that different stuff. And they were like, yeah, don't do that again. Let's clean that up.
Now, this should be interesting because now King and Leah are out front with worn tires, and they are being hunted by the drivers out in the back who have, some of them, their first set of tires, and it should feel amazing for someone like Tyler Dalton.
You got to be patient here, though. This isn't one of those things where you want to go out and go all out, I guess, be one way of thinking. I'm thinking of another term. I don't know if it'd be too right to say, but you want to go all out and dig hard here. You still want to preserve your tires because, I mean, if this race turns into a long run at this point, those 20-lap newer tires aren't going to be so much newer if you just go full speed here trying to catch the leaders, and all of a sudden they're going to pull away from you. So you got to be patient here. Let the car come to you. As you see Fuller make the inside move here on Rivera for fifth. Brian Macklin, I noticed a little bit of nose damage on that 30 there. That's probably hindering him a little bit. Oh, a little door bang there. That's easy to do here at Dover.
I have a sense, just because of how tight and hard all these drivers are running, is that they are not going to get a long green flag run here. There's just way too much up on the wheel for these things. As the 81 Josh Parker was a bottom feeder last time out of turn number 4. Now he's working the high side, running in that 9th position. He's trying to wear out Kevin Brown. He's tucked in behind him as that battle from about third, fourth, fifth is really heated with the side-by-side going on there. You got the 51 of Fuller trying to recover after his early troubles. He's underneath the 22 of Nelson Rivera, and they're side-by-side right in front of him with Macklin on the charge to the outside of Wesley Donaldson.
They've been battling pretty hard here, and you see Mike Kelly up there on the top side in the 2. A few laps ago, Donnie Lear ran the fastest lap of the race with a 23.77, so that clean air definitely paying off for that 20 car right now. And I had this very weird thought come to my mind, which happens once an hour at least. That came to my mind. You brought up Donnie Lee and his Northeast. Growing up as we're 3 wide down into 1 and 2. Kevin Brown puts Wesley Donaldson in the sandwich, but Donaldson backs out of it, and that allows Fuller to clear for the 5th position. But what if modifieds ran here?
That would be scary.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
If they haven't done it before. I mean, maybe they have, but just the thought.
Well, to see the modifieds run Wall Stadium, which is like a mini version of this place, it's just crazy how they run the banking. And
well, they run Bristol, don't they?
yeah.
Just a big Bristol.
Yeah, and you know, to some respects, this place is a lot like Bristol in some manner in the way that you drive it down into the corner, but the turns are a lot longer, so you're in the corner for quite a bit of time, putting that load on the car. What I'm surprised to see is that drivers are not hunting the groove a little bit more, but I think, you know, when you're under attack, you really don't want to give up the bottom line, because as soon as you open the bottom, someone's going to stick a nose underneath you, and from that perspective, you're just going to protect your territory until they spread out some.
Notice Mark Jorgensen, by the way, is taking his 88 car behind the wall. Not sure what happened to him at lap 47, so not sure if he had to just jump off or whatever, but I noticed he, Livingston, and Robert Friery, when you talk about humbling, finished first last night, last tonight for him in that 77 car. But back to your comment really quickly, the one car I have seen doing the experiment, I mean, we see some cars moving up to the, you know, second groove or groove and a half up the track, but E.J. O'Rourke, of course, has been up there near the state line of Jersey trying to make passes. 3 wide off the corner as Stone moves up the track, lets Stenzel and Dalton go through. But let's make a little comment here that Josh Parker has moved up to second on the new tires.
Yeah. If we do a leaderboard rundown, Leah, Parker, Macklin, King, we expect all of them to do well. Nelson Rivera, we knew was going to be good. Kevin DeBrown, always fast on these type of technical racetracks. Justin Fuller, Wesley Donaldson. I thought Mike Kelly would be somebody that would have a little more for it. He's kind of been mired in the second half of the top 10. Chad Coleman, Jose Gonzalez, 2 journeymen there. And how about this run for Alan Wild in the 15th? Well, where is he running right now? He's in the 07
12th car. Alan Wild, yeah, in the 15 car in the 12th position here. He's got that. I noticed yesterday he had this new sponsor he was rolling with here, the Swing Element, I think is what it says on his hood. He's got the Callaway clubs with these green wheels. Interesting paint scheme there, but I think a potential new sponsor here at Sim500 here on a car. The Swing Academy is what it is. Must be a golf school or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Academy word gave that away, but
he's under assault right now by the 5 of Cody Giles, who's got right side damage. Not uncommon in this event, Chris, to see these cars banged up on the right side, right?
I mean, almost every car is getting up there to the outside wall at one point, even if it's just scraping it up a little bit. Per se, but 60 so Kevin DeBrown getting a little loose there off the corner, allows 2, maybe 3 cars to go by, and you see Fuller starting to climb that banking. So yeah, the longer this run goes, that's where you're going to see the cars slide up the track more. Again, you don't see it as much on iRacing, but the tires lay rubber down, and that allows the track to move up, and what you want to do is find that fresh concrete.
Can't see your live feed there, Chris. Just a quick note, but I'm telling you, I could look out the windshield and see how these guys are hostile in the car right now. But I like this. I like the fact that we're going to get some time in the moment of spreading out the race, because I want to see how these drivers perform as they start to deal with tire wear in a long run. That's what I'm looking for.
And you're starting to see the field spread out as Parker putting the pressure on Donnie Lee up there. It's about a 10th separation. Kevin King about a half second back. Then you got these guys here, and then you're starting to see some side-by-side racing back near Wesley Donaldson, Chad Coleman here. There's Gonzalez, Kelly, Kevin DeBrown. There's Cody, as I mentioned. Or actually, you mentioned, I should say. Let me get that terminology right. I mean, you're seeing packs of cars everywhere here. Back here towards back, we haven't really been back here too much. The action's been up front for the most part, but Beasley in that 10 car. Here's Medina making a move inside of the Kevin Stone car. Randy Yoakum back here with Montesi, Jimmy Coleman, and others. I mean, there's racing everywhere here. Up front.
Before that time with Rodolasso getting passed by Tyler Dalton.
Here's Parker for the lead. Wonder how much Donnie's going to fight him, knowing that he's got the fresher tires here.
Tell you, it's one thing to get underneath, it's another to actually execute the pass. When you're down underneath trying to get through, you really got to be careful at how the car comes up off the corner. What got you to his back bumper doesn't necessarily get you by.
No, absolutely. And not to mention, when you have a track like this, you have to find a way to complete the pass. And when you come off a corner and you're side by side with another car, what are you not able to do? You're not able to use the whole entire track to carry your speed, right? You got the wheel crank. There's a diamond out of the 81 right here. But, and that's what keeps it so tough for you to pass on that bottom side. Is Parker, hello, goes to the inside here. But
now it's going to be difficult to drive by him on the exit
right here.
because
Yeah,
the car's going to hop out and Donnie's going to get the run to the outside. You see him running high on the entry, lets the car wash up in the middle. Now he's going to turn down the banking. He's lengthening the straightaway. The run that he's going to get to the back bumper off this backstretch, one of these times he's going to be able to draw alongside on entry to 3, and then he'll be able to execute the pass if he can get a nose ahead. Right.
No, exactly. And that's where we were saying that the inside car can't use all the track up. So because of that, it bogs the car down because you're turning the wheel more, allows that outside line to carry the momentum. That's where this track becomes tough to pass. If you could stay side by side getting into the corner, you're likely going to make the pass. But if you cannot complete it on entry, you're likely going to be in a fight for a little bit here. You know, looking at Kevin Brown here. Yeah, go ahead.
Comes King. I think King is just sitting there riding, and eventually his lap times don't fall off, but everybody else slips. He's just going to slip on by.
That's what exactly did. Up to second, Brian Macklin there trailing into 4th position. Chad Coleman's just moved up to 5th. He's got some newer feel goods on that car. As we're starting to see that little bit of a look. Are we going to get that run now? That finally gets going, and if so, we're going to see some interesting decisions have to be made here, because again, you got these guys that are looking at close to 50 laps, and of course, right on cue, leave it to me to jinx it. Schrader wrecks off turn somewhere. Yes, he's already towed back to the pits, but Mark Schrader goes around and brings out the caution. I have taken over the Kevin England reins of when you need a caution, just ask.
Nicely done.
I will hold it with pride.
I'm not really clear what happened to him. I mean, the car just went into the corner and...
He's got nose damage.
Right.
He's hit every side of his car, it looks like. There slides up. Did he blow a tire?
Ah, you know, yes. That is something we've not talked about.
Man,
that is
if
very
only we had a camera on a tire that we could do here. Let's go let's see.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be way too cool.
But here's the thing, I don't see anything on this tire that looks bad.
But you do get a tire warning here if you constantly drive the car down at the bottom.
Ouch.
Of the track. Ow. There's a little kiss to the wall.
I don't see anything wrong with that tire.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't see anything wrong with it.
But I know if you run the car too far down on the bottom and just steer the car in and try and hold the bottom as you go
Look at the
through.
blisters.
Wow, what I see
I think
is
those
all
are
the
blisters, I think,
cars
right?
on pit road. Yeah, that's what it looks like. We usually don't see those marks.
All right, leaders on pit road, and these are all the majority of them, I should say, the early guys here.
Look at this mess, man. One of the tightest pit roads coming off, and you do 35 miles an hour on this pit road, which is just an awful eternity. It is, and the track goes downhill for pit road as you come off this, and you tend to pick up speed. It's very easy to speed here on pit road. You got to be careful that you don't ding the meter here. You'll end up going all the way to the back and giving up any track position that you fought for.
It is also one of the trickiest entrances, as we know, and one of the trickiest exits on iRacing. Why? Because it's one of the rare pit roads where you actually, when you exit, you do not get to the speed cone. When you get to the exit, of pit road, and you have to travel another 30 feet or so, and then you get to the cone. That's the speed limit. So it's very easy once you get clear and it tells you where to line up. You floor it. No, oops. Let's go back.
Yep.
I want to go on board with the 35. Sorry. Let's see if he's turning this wheel, because this might determine if it's a flat tire or not. He's barely turning that wheel. So something else went wrong there. It'd be different if you had that wheel cranked all the way to the left and that thing just went straight. So I don't think it was a flat tire, but still a very interesting visual to see there of what that tire looked like after those laps. Matter of fact, let's go back to who pitted early in that run. Kevin King was one of the lap 28 guys here, so let's go to his pit stop here. I mean, this is, again, a guy who's raced in the Coke Series, and we're about to jump in here and let's take a look at this right front tire of his. Because you know, if anybody's going to know how to save a right front tire. Just looking at it preliminary.
Oh, he was in the first pit stall.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm just looking at it right now. We're just enjoying the view here down pit road.
Look at the flap above the tire. That's kind of cool.
So look at the marks and stuff on here. I mean, tire looks good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just you don't see this on the other tracks. All the marks and scuffs, and I'm guessing maybe, I don't think those are blisters. Maybe they are blisters. I don't know. But then again, the new tire looks like that now. So who knows?
Could be picking up debris too.
Yeah.
Marbles.
Interesting. All right, so getting ready to come back to green. We're at the halfway point. Appreciate the viewers watching here this evening. If you're new to the chat, you can always hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, we appreciate you coming back and joining us. I notice some new viewers have joined us in the last couple of days. Appreciate those guys. And, of course, our usual shout-outs to Aaron Thomas, to Atomic Burrito, Mr. Kip Cook, Jameson Campbell, Kevin England, whoever he is, joining us in chat.
He's the uncle of the winner this week at Linda's Motor Speedway. We won the opening. That was nice.
As Jose Gonzalez leads them to the green and wheel spin. Medina has a rough start. They're 3 wide down to turn 1.
We don't talk much about the fact that you can run the middle, the bottom, the top, and a couple other places that are available to you if you need to run and hide. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through.
Macklin and Parker hitting each other there off 2. How about Joe Hudson's back up here in the top 10 after going for a spin?
Hitting the wall there, we just saw about 7 of them.
I'm just going to say yes. Look at this mess! 4 wide almost!
Oh,
EJ!
Oh, you are. That's crazy.
I mean, EJ's up in Trenton.
He's waving to the guys in the first.
I knew that wasn't going to work. Oh, my.
Oh, stencil.
They're still hitting each other back there.
Bottom feeder.
You can
banking.
You can try 3 wide at Dover, but when the low car is in the middle of the track and you're 3 wide, that's not going to end well.
I don't know that I've ever seen anybody run as high as EJ is at this racetrack.
Sorry, that's
He's above that top seam over there.
Montesius got loose and was 4 wide for a second.
That's unbelievable. I almost want to load up the sim to see what it's like to race up there. I've never seen that done.
Well, it's funny. Last night, EJ at Milwaukee, I'm like, there's no way he's going to go to the top of Milwaukee. It's a flat track. And he went up about half the track.
The trick is you put the right gear and then you hold it wide open up on the top, and you're like a airplane in a gym. You just keep winding it up lap after lap after lap, but he's got the same gear as everybody else here tonight, so I don't know how that works. He finally settled down and went down below, currently running 21st in the number 21.
Gonzalez and King, or I should say Gonzalez losing spots to King, Parker, Dalton, and Macklin now as the older tires are starting to get cycled out, as Donnie Leah back to the front now. So those who are trying to preserve a set of tires, they are free falling like a rock right now.
I am curious as to what Mr. King is thinking. Is he thinking, holy cow, Leah is fast, or is he licking his chops going, go ahead, I'll come get you later. I'm just curious what state of mind he is.
Just saw the white monster car look like clipped the wall a little bit there as he gets passed by Wesley Donaldson, talking about Rod Alasso. I mean, there's action everywhere right now. Parker goes to the top side on Leah here.
Leah's got to be sure that he doesn't come up as Parker draws alongside of him. Good run out of turn 3 and 4. Will get him the lead. Is holy cow, that was a... We talk about diamond the corner. He polished the diamond.
And look at Dalton to the outside of Kevin. I think King's just sitting back saving his tires while these other guys are working the other grooves here and making the passes.
Last lap is the one that pays, and
yes.
I have to wonder if you're trying to use the tires hoping that there'll be a caution and the consistency.
Dalton just got squeezed by Donnie.
Wow. Dalton pretty much had to back out because Donnie was against the fence with the right side.
I saw Dalton hit the wall, it looked like. I'm sure he's not going to be happy about that.
Outstanding run here for Chad Coleman, sitting there in the top 10, just quietly carving his way through. We talked about how this track rewards the veterans, the guys that are technical and know how to put a race together from lap 1 to 160, and Chad Coleman certainly falls into that category. He'd be the type of driver that it's a driver's track, and he's one of the best at this type of racing. So not surprised to see him up in the top 10, but I think Mr. Dalton wants to go 2 in a row here.
Hey, sometimes that first win's the hardest one to get, so he's rolling, he's adjusted his lane a little bit. Donnie actually was he's still doing it. You can see him kind of mirror blocking a little bit, as when Tyler goes high, he goes up to the top side, and then he moves down, he moves back down. Coleman about 170 miles an hour. Hey, Donnie's going to shut the door off turn 4. You wonder if Dalton might put the bumper to him here in a second.
Yeah, Tyler's a pretty patient guy, I have to say. He doesn't race from that kind of emotion. He might not be happy about it, but he's not going to get too excited to do something that's not going to benefit him in the long run.
93 laps in here at Dover. Appreciate again everyone hanging out with us on this Monday evening. We start the work week with some racing here at Dover. Race number 9 of this Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series. You mentioned Coleman. Yeah, the streak of his hasn't won a Cup race since Talladega 2022. Looking to potentially break that streak. 6th position right now for him. You've got Fuller there in front of him. Brian Macklin. How about Bobby Wetzel back there in at 9? How about the 5 there behind him? Cody Giles started 30th. Up to the 9th position.
Yeah, we said that this would be a race of a bunch of different changes as we see the 13 of David Comstock quietly running in 13th right now. Aaron Thomas brings up a good
Sorry. Just saw
Okay.
3 wide back there in the turn one, or off turn 4. Kevin Stone was in the outside wall as they were getting around Jose Gonzalez, and now Montesi doors him.
I'm going to show my age. That's a song from the Flintstones. Eep, up, ork, ook. You have to know the episode.
Isn't that the one where they like burn their feet or something like that?
It has something to do with the alien, and they heard the alien talk. Well,
Oh, okay. For some reason I feel like I've heard that before. Oh, you know, maybe it's Bugs Bunny or something. I don't know. Anyways.
oh yeah, okay. I know the Bugs Bunny references.
Kevin Wall.
Wall. Yeah, Wall. There's a wall out there.
That wasn't for you, by the way.
That's the Wesley Donaldson line. Wesley, there's a wall out there.
That's Joey Jatina starting to make moves here inside of Joey Stone. And that 7 car trying to take the 18th position away. He was a lap down a little bit in this race. 14.
Hardest race in the field right now, running for 18th, the two of them. They have been tussling the last 5 or 6 laps, it almost seems like, trying to chase down the side-by-side right in front of them, the two of them.
Yeah, Mon's going to take advantage of a mistake there. Jimmy Coleman slides to the inside. Oh, 3 wide. Here we go again.
Whoop. How's this going to work out?
So far, okay. Yeah, let's just stay this way. Why not?
This is not a pace lap, guys.
Something has to give here.
I don't know.
Wow.
Wait for 7 to make it 4 wide.
We're still going.
And mind you, this is for like, what, 16th? 17th? This is what I was talking about before, right? The racing is every inch of the racetrack. There's always a battle somewhere. Real racetracks like this a lot of times too. Sometimes it gets sorted out and gets conveyor belt, but man, these guys are driving their guts out back here.
I can see it already. Yeah, I wrecked a bunch of clowns back there racing 3 wide for 15th.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we're 102 laps in. Oh, by the way, Josh Parker leading this race by 0.3 of a second over Donnie Leah. And let's step away real quick here from 811 and come back, get you more racing from Dover on the Captain Esports Network.
When do you plan on putting in that new fence we've been talking about since last summer?
I guess I could start tomorrow.
Protect the ones you love and protect your buried utilities by contacting 811 before you dig, either by phone, the web, or the NC811 app. Know what's below before you dig. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
56 laps to go here at the Dover Motor Speedway, race number 9 of this Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series as we watch from the front stretch grandstands as Josh Parker, who started 34th, leading Donnie Leah, Kevin King right there in tow, Justin Fuller up to 4th, Tyler Dalton starting to fall back there a little bit as there's the crossover, and here comes Leah to the inside into 1. Sliding him up the track a little bit there, almost too much contact it looks like.
How do you come out of turn 2 against each other and be able to drive down the back straightaway as they're still banging and beating door to door out of turn number 4? Who's it going to be? Parker to the outside. He's a little loose. Leah trying to hold the car down. Didn't give up. He's still at the number. Dives down into turn number 1, trying to make the pass as they have a slow car in front of him. And again, side by side out of turn number 2 to the backstretch. Parker's going to clear him. And I think Leah had to dump in and do a little defense to King, who slides underneath him now. King going to come in and make it a 3-way battle.
They pass Alan Wild to put him a lap down. These boys know we got like 53 laps to go still, right? I mean,
Yeah, I have a feeling the 81, his tires are going to give up a little bit, and these two were bound to come to him. Now, what Leah didn't want to do is get in this turmoil and let King come up and get it. He really needed to clear him and drive off and let King tussle with the 81, but now the two of them have not been able to clear Parker. Man, I'm telling you, it doesn't get any better than this.
Justin Fuller's back there licking his chops as he's trying to get up here and join this battle. Appreciate Sean Casto also joining us here this evening. Welcome into the Captain Esports Network, or maybe on the Sim500 Facebook page. Could be watching over there. So either way, appreciate it very much.
Both King and Leah brush the wall trying to get up to the top of the racetrack to turn in turn number 2. Last time by as King draws down underneath Leah one more time, trying to execute that pass, pick up second, and see if he has a little something for Parker. They got to be careful. You could really burn your tires off, and we heard drivers come into the podium conversation saying, I could have done better, but I ran a little too hard here, and I'm sure, as again, they brush against the wall. So this is where you race the racetrack, I think. You just try and find your line, and eventually, if you do it well enough, you're going to carry the 10th of a second, the 100th of a second that's going to bring you up and let you get the pass.
Don't tell any of these three that. To race the racetrack.
Against the wall, all three of them that time at the start-finish.
50 laps to go. All these cars pitted at lap 77, which means they are going to have to go nearly 83 laps, which I don't know if you can do that at Dover, especially racing like this. To
11 laps, and they are racing 3 under a blanket for the lead.
Three
and
wide.
They're going to go 3 wide.
net code.
Leah to the outside finally gets past. He gets loose. King going to drive out, and he will be your leader to the back straightaway. What a race for these guys.
I think there was a little net code between Parker and Leah that turned him sideways there, and he saved it. But Kevin King said, thank you.
He's not done yet. He's to the back bumper of Kevin. Got to go in wide, turn the car down, see if he can get the run. Will he stay to the outside quarter? Is he going to try the crossover? Leah knows he can't let Kevin get away. Donnie's going to do whatever he can to see if he can get the pass and get the clean air, as Kevin is just going to hit his.
There's your diamond right there.
Very nice. Wheel to wheel through turn 1 and 2, out to the backstretch. King has the run from the high side. Leah is going to have to ease out of it, let the car come up the banking, and try again one other time as King fends off the run from the Mobile 1 Camaro of Donnie Leah. As laps are ticking down, they're going to start getting into slower cars. And this has a green look to it to the end, so you have to wonder, how does this play out for the long run with these guys running these hard stints?
Please note that was Kevin England that said that this time, not me. Cars pitting right now, by the way. The cars that did not pit at that last caution that came in at lap 47, those are the guys coming to pit road right now. So Mike Kelly is on pit road. Rod Mitten had to make a stop. Also, Alan Wild had to come to pit road, and he spent a little bit extra time on pit road, I should say. But, yeah, you're now starting to see some of these cars that pitted early as Van Schijk goes a lap down on pit road. So that right there, if you do the math, is 70 laps. That the guys that pitted at 47 to get to 117. So if 77 and 70, pretty simple math there. 147.
Look at this. They're beating and banging out of turn number 4.
Again, there's 40 laps left.
8 tires are better than 4, but if he's going to get the pass, he's got to be this aggressive. That was incredible that they did not come off and collect the outside wall.
I mean, I apologize to the other 39 cars, but we're hanging out up here right now.
You pretty much shoved them off the corner there.
Fuller got to third, by the way, past Parker.
We have to remember that we're going to start seeing slower cars in their way, and we're going to see the cars with tires come up and drive around these guys, because as fast as they look, they're no contest for a car with fresh tires. They would be passed in an instant. So they're both going to have to look out the front windshield and gauge what is coming, and also discern if somebody's going to try and pass them from behind.
Contact, and Kevin King into the, or Kevin DeBrand into the wall with Giles. Caution's likely coming here in a second. So far, no, he's kept it at the bottom.
Unbelievable.
Cody Giles is sitting down at the bottom of the track right now. Let's see. And he tows, so no caution. And now Joey Stone has crashed.
Joey Stone was in that incident before that.
And there's the caution. All right, my cameras are going whack here. There we go.
Yeah, he was stuck against the outside wall. Probably the car was not driving. He tried to drive it back. Wow, this, as they say, changes everything. But I think we're going to see a pit road race here. What a battle between these two, but everybody's going to go get tires here. Have to believe that.
Oh, yeah,
Except
absolutely.
for the guys that just stuck in. They might try to get back to the lead lap. What was it, Mike Kelly I saw go to pit road?
Yeah, Kelly and others are going to be. I'm just trying to check. It looks like Joey might have had some kind of connection issues. Because, like, I lost him in that wreck and cannot find him. Yeah, and he toes back to pit road. So I think he had some kind of connection issue. And that brought the caution out, unfortunately. Oh, that's tough.
Mike Kelly was one lap down in the lucky dog position, but now it's showing Charles Van Schaik in the 23, who was
Yeah, Charles had just gotten lapped during that
just
green flag
gotten
run.
lapped.
Yeah,
Right? So as it resets, he's going to get in as
man,
yeah,
tough break.
Fuller's gonna be right there with him. Oh
So
man,
this-
this is
yeah.
crazy.
For those guys who went long run and tried to save a set of tires, it just backfired on them massively, especially the ones that came to pit road. So here we go. Who's going to pull this one off?
What a race!
That was one of the funner battles I've ever seen at Dover. Man, they were throwing haymakers at lap 110, 100.
112, yeah, they were crazy. Donnie Lee was like flat out sideways.
Right. Ah. Brian Wortman doing Wortman things. As King will win the race off pit road. As everybody pretty much going to be good to go to the finish now here. All right, let's real quickly step away and hear from 811. We'll come back. I want to look at some of these tires real quick before we go green.
What a nice day to install my new mailbox.
Hi there, friend. I'm Dig Safely Man. My job is to ensure you call 811 before you dig.
Why do I need to do that?
Vital utilities like natural gas and electric run just beneath the Earth's surface. Damaging them can cause service interruption, environmental hazards, or personal injury.
I thought only contractors had to call before they dig, so homeowners do too.
Call 3 business days before you dig unless you have x-ray vision. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
Back we are here at Dover, just taking a peek at the right front tire here at Josh Parker. It looks pretty good, so not really seeing much, which is surprising. But then again, I might not have this camera set up perfectly. There's still plenty of work I got to do on it, but man, what great racing we have seen here at Dover so far here this evening. Kev is under caution here again after Joey Stone unfortunately having some connection issues.
Yeah, and this puts Kevin King back out front for this final stint here, if that's what it's going to be. Right in front of him, you have the 74. Or no, I'm sorry, that's the 15 of Alan Wild, the 84 of Calantoni, the 2, and the 92, all presumably going to get a wave around here, and that'll put Kevin to lead us back at a lap 123 of 160, and I don't know how it gets any better than what we just saw, but I can't imagine when you add Fuller into the mix, when you add Macklin and Tyler Dalton, and everybody at this point all has fresh tires, and are they thinking save or run wide open to the end? I don't know how you would actually play this, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be an interesting question to see here. I think I'm one that's always been like save, and do whatever you can do. But I don't know. I think you're going to have to get what you can get here, because I hate to say this, but I don't think we're done wrecking. I don't want to be Mr. Negative here, but let's just keep it real for a second. We have seen tight battles at lap 100 and 110. So as we get to lap 140, 130, 140, 150, If they're not already racing 3 and 4 wide like they've been doing, what says they're not going to do it now?
Yeah, King has led 47 laps so far, and he would like to lead the rest of them. He's the 8th different leader here tonight. He's led on a couple different occasions, but now everybody's reset on fresh tires. They're going to run hard. He gets a good jump. He's able to draw away like the initial start and cover second position as they're side by side, back for third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on. King leads him down to the back straightaway one more time.
Medina, we got big
5.
got cars scrambling everywhere over here. Mike Kelly's in the inside wall. I saw Medina up in the outside wall. Nobody's wrecked, but everybody's just kind of slowed up here and getting back into rhythm. That was almost a little ugly back there. You can see the smoke as they go through 1 and 2.
Yeah. Well, like we said, they're on top of each other. They're all trying to maintain their grooves, but keep their foot to the floor. A lot of times when you come out with fresh tires, you can pretty much keep it matted. The car has the best grip coming up off the corner.
Everybody's single file. I think they're just going to, you got to wait it out here a little bit. Let the tires start to wear, and as they wear, that's where the track will open up a little bit. Right now, you're just pretty much bottom feeding until the tires get up to temp and start to wear. And then from there is where you'll start seeing the cars, I think, start to spread out like you saw. As Macklin tail whipped it a little bit there in front of Coleman. That's going to allow Coleman to go by for position. Let's go back to the green flag here real quickly and show you the Medina and stuff deal back here in turn 1. It happened towards the back. So right on on board with the dinosaur, if you will. You're going to see cars right there. Oh, Gittino is sideways. Look at it. There's 6 wide. E.J. O'Rourke almost spins it. He saves it. Everybody's everywhere. Mike Kelly's down there in the inside wall.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to Joey there. His car did not.
Look how somebody was in his door, so I'm not sure if he got turned or if he got loose. But up here, Fuller going for the lead. And remember, Bristol, these two again.
But the reverse direction, yeah.
You're saying that Fuller's not going to be afraid to throw a slider here if needed?
No, what I'm saying is Fuller held off King.
Right.
They were unhappy with each other.
And I'm probably still not too thrilled about that whole thing, so we got to keep an eye on this. And you know what? I'm sorry, it's Fuller and Leah. I'm getting them mixed up with King. As Fuller's going to go by.
No, it's Fuller and King.
Well, I'm talking about the contact during the Bristol race. Yeah, it was the Fuller-Leah deal. But, yeah, no, King and Fuller battle for the lead here. Josh Parker right there with him. You see Leah starting to move up the track. Tyler Dalton right back there in 5th looking to pounce.
How about Justin Fuller? Comes up here. Says, you guys go ahead and lead the whole race. I'll come up at the end and just steal the win from you.
Well, that's after he was facing the other side on the back straightaway, facing
early
backwards.
That is a crazy turn of events, which is what we said we'd see from the beginning of this race. It's just been astonishing how much flip-flop we've seen. But the one persistent I'll say is, how about Tyler Dalton, man? Running in 5th right now. He's on fresh tires, which is good on him. Even with everybody else, he always seems to find himself in an opposite position, but when he can run heads up and he starts to run qualifying laps, and he can run with the best of them, and here he is, the top 5 at the end of this race.
There's a reason why he's second in points right there behind Kevin King early here in this season as Macklin knocks the wall down again off turn 2. I mean, there's people up there just slamming it. If you're enjoying the broadcast, we appreciate you joining us here this evening. Of course, feel free to share it out there to your friends and family. You can watch the last 25 laps here at Dover. Of course, they can come and hit subscribe and be a part of all of our future broadcasts. As next week, the crew here go to the Kansas Speedway for mile-and-a-half racing next Monday night. So we hope that you can join us for that. As here comes Beasley up into the top 11.
Yeah, great climb for Beasley. He just worked his way underneath the 93 of Kevin DeBrown, and now he sets his sight on the 13 out front of Comstock. Beasley just kind of pacing himself in a Beasley kind of race.
Yeah,
Never flashy, but consistently stays out of trouble and carries the speed.
Not to mention, Beasley said if he got to Kevin, he'd give him the bumper.
Yeah.
There's a joke in there, by the way.
Got a little way to go. You can get to my bumper, but I don't know if he's going to get the King's bumper. Yeah, what is the story with Mr. King right now? This is the furthest back we've seen him all race long, isn't it?
Well, I mean, he's been in the top 5 all day, but he's, I think he's just sitting back. I think he's letting Fuller race, and eventually those tires are going to come to his liking, car's going to come to his feel, and I think he's going to eventually go and grab this lead and try to get away from the field. I mean, he's got Donnie Leah already climbing the banking here to the top side, running the diamond as he tries to get the run on Parker. I mean, it's just a matter of how hard are these guys going right now with 23 laps to go. And then as we go farther into this race, if we get a caution, say, in the next 8 laps, what are you doing at that part?
Yeah, I mean, there is another aspect. If he lays off the car, doesn't run right underneath the back bumper, then it's possible that he could put more
Here
air.
he comes.
It got loose, and he's going to pounce on that opportunity. He draws alongside. He's going to try and carve the corner here, carry as much speed as he can up off the corner. Fuller's going to have the better run. But you can't help but take the opportunity, right, as it presents.
Did I hear? Sorry, I paused for a second. Thought I was hearing some shifting. I'm like, wait a minute here. As Calantoni gets past, goes another lap down. Unfortunate run for that Talking Giants 84.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. It is possible. You can run 4th all the way around here. You're against the chip as King is alongside. And I think he's going to clear him this time around. Out of turn number 2. Back to P1, Kevin King.
And I am getting verification, by the way. It is Fuller that is shifting out there, which kind of caught me. I was like, wait a minute, shifting at Dover? I mean, I would just think that the speeds are too high to be doing that. But hey, what do I know?
Most drivers can ride around here in 5th and carry the lap every once in a while when the tire wear comes, or if you're trying to get that run up off the corner, you're going to drop the gear, go into overdrive, so to speak. And I find it really difficult to get downshift. You have to hit it in the exact spot.
Right.
And then you have to come back up at the exact spot. And given the volatility of trying to get a clean lap, a lot of drivers don't opt to do it because the throttle when you stomp on the gas is different in 4th than 5th when you come off the corner. But, you know, these guys, they're the best of the best of the best, sir. And
with honor.
If they can figure out how to shift, they're going to be able to do it with no problem. I got my eye on the 81.
Yeah, you're watching this battle with me, huh?
Josh Parker, I'm thinking that he's the kind of guy that, well, what do we know about him? He's against the wall.
Montesi unscheduled pit stop on pit road. That sure happened to the 4, but yeah, and then Donnie goes by for 3rd here, so here comes the 20 all of a sudden.
Yeah, Parker just put it up in too high there. He's trying to run that high line. But what I was going to say is, what do we know about Parker? Josh is the guy that starts out in the back and drives all the way up into the top 5. So if everybody pits for tires, why can't he drive from the top 5 out to the win? That is a distinct possibility. Now, don't get me wrong, the guys up front are typically the faster guys. Kevin continues to run the bottom. Everybody else has moved to the high side.
I'm just curious to know, does a 2-tire play come in here somewhere if we get a yellow?
Yeah, tire wear on that left front is brutal on this car on this racetrack. And I would think if you want the car to turn and you don't want it to push coming up off the corner where you have to lift, possibly. But I'm wondering if that's the reason that we see 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right now running the high line. If they're maybe pushing a little bit or maybe trying to save the cars. I've heard the strategy sometimes of where you run high and then you run low and you try to even the tire wear up. As Fuller got a little loose out of turn 2. That's going to open the door for the 20 car to go by.
Yeah, so Donnie goes by.
Yep, Donnie goes to 2nd. Now, has Kevin gotten too far out in 12 laps for Donnie to chase him down?
Well, they are up there against the boards pretty much now.
Yeah, 1.46 is the interval as we look at this and we'll just watch and see whether he's able to gain any ground on Kevin, who's starting to check out and has the biggest lead he's had all night long.
Tyler Dalton with Macklin, who about dropped one over to the infield there as he saves it. Good save on his part.
I don't love that high line. I'm not sure why these guys moved up there.
Well, you got to try something different.
Having a great.
Oh, caution. Kevin DeBrown has gone around.
No.
Kevin DeBrown and, T-Bone. Charles Van Schaik with a lick.
That's a pile off of that corner.
Yeah, the left rear is completely stopped in that 93, and here we go. What you doing now, crew chief?
What you gonna do now? What happened to Kevin there? He was running in the 14th position. Oh, Beasley got a little loose and he checked up. And that was possibly a little net code.
Mons get into him a little bit here?
Mons got him. And then the left rear is broken and he just couldn't hold the car.
Yeah, Hudson gave him a little shunt there, and yeah, this car's broke.
Oh, it's like a...
Oh, boy. Oh, he gets two T-bones. There's one.
Yeah.
Have a second.
Oh.
And then O'Rourke nowhere to go.
I had one of those this week.
Everybody's staying out.
Really? No. Come on now.
Yep, we got about 19th place. Hudson, which he's got damage. Simley, Gonzalez, Van Schaik, and others coming to pit road here. A lot of those cars are the damaged cars. So there's nothing to really break back to. So let's just keep showing this wreck here for a second. And
I am shocked someone didn't take the opportunity to take time.
Then again, with these many cars staying out, I'm actually better staying out than...
You see that wiggle by Beasley?
Yeah, some net code.
23. Yeah. The 93 check up.
The Hudson shots would broke his left rear.
Yeah, and
then,
he's just sitting there as a dead duck.
Oh, boy. Oh!
Oh!
Oh! Oh!
That hurts. That hurts me.
What's that?
If that had been a real thing, I can't imagine how two hits like that.
I mean, for obvious reasons here. I mean, the line means different here, but I'm going to throw this out there for this wreck. But I would think the old "thank you, sir, may I have another" comes into play here. You know, watch this again. There's where he breaks the wheel, and obviously he's got no control.
The car's not steering, and he's trying to pick up the throttle, and the car turns sideways, and he just locks it down. Which
thank you, sir. Can I have another?
Supposed to do, but you know, if you're Van Schaik and some of these guys coming around the corner, you're committed. I mean, the only thing you could do is try and shoot the gap. I have to say one thing, and it was mentioned earlier by Aaron Thomas. EJ is running the old Harry Gant line, which is what we saw those guys. I was there, September, Mr. September, Harry Gant running the line. I love that Skull car, and it's so cool to see these guys run the Harry Gant line. So kudos to you, Aaron, for calling that out. You were spot on. That is an iconic play of thinking about how Harry Gant ran this racetrack.
Now, of course, is when he went 4 in a row, and that month. And Dover was one of those tracks that he pulled it off at. But, yeah, I'm curious to see now, because here's the factors you're going to come into play here. You're going to have tires that are going to be about 30 laps old going green here. So what's the first thing we're going to think about? Wheel spin. And we're on a banked corner, banked straightaway. So obviously the banking is going to cause the weight to be a little different distribution-wise. So I think wheel spin is going to be very interesting on this restart. And of course, if you watched the Milwaukee race last night, for different reasons, we got to 14 laps to go, and there was a little mix-up on the restart, and we piled up one of the biggest wrecks in Sim500 history, as I've been told. Wasn't the biggest, but up there. I don't want to jinx it and say it's about to happen again, but there's a possibility here somebody's going to make a boo-boo.
Well, okay. I just want to take a pregnant pause here and just say, how do you know what's going to happen in this?
We don't. That's the best part of this. I mean, that's the anxiety that builds. That's the Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of nervous sitting here, like, about to watch this. Like, you got King, you got Donnie Leah, you got Fuller, you got Parker, you got Macklin, you got Dalton, all of these guys that have had fantastic races. Wesley Donaldson's back there having another great run, trying to bounce back into points. Rivera is, here's the guy who restart zone where they usually take off. Let's see how this goes. Bam, there goes Leah into the wall.
Yeah, into the wall, just like you called it. Everybody else is going to scramble here. I don't know that they come out the other side.
3 wide is Leah's going to fall all the way back to about 9th or so on that restart. There's some cars up into the wall again. Everybody's scattering.
Meanwhile, King is away. He's got 8 car lengths over Justin Fuller.
Watching more cars hit the wall here and more cars scatter. Oh, look at this. Everybody up the track.
Parker trying to hold off a game. Brian Macklin. Nelson Rivera continues to show his prowess as he ducks underneath, is trying to go for 4th. Tyler Dalton trying to follow him through.
Leah's
going to lose
in
it.
front of the field. Bam! He gets clobbered. And around goes to 54 Coleman. Ronald also gets contact and others.
Boy, Donnie's got to be frustrated with that. After such a strong run, and that is typical Dover, it's not too different from some of these other racetracks that can reach out and bite you. And after a showcase run for Donnie Leah all night long, it just breaks loose, and no one is immune from it, you know?
Oh, got in the back of Donaldson there.
Donaldson's loose, and I think he was just trying to stay off him. Did you see it?
He did, yeah. And then Yoakum gets damage. Coleman goes around, as I mentioned.
Bobby Wetzel, man, talk about hard luck.
Rodolasso had some damage after his top 3 last week. This is just
Yeah,
crazy.
unfortunately, I think that was a crash avoidance that led to crash. Right, watch. He tags Donaldson, lets him off, then comes off. Donaldson's trying to turn the car down. And
Coleman gets him.
Yeah, Donnie's just trying to stay off. And yeah, Coleman nicked them. But what are you going to do when they lose speed, momentum coming up off the corner? This should be happy times for Mr. King. I think Kevin would be happy to run the rest of these laps out under caution and then just sprint away for a couple lap dash rather than allow them to have restart after restart of testing him.
Yeah. The one thing that I can't help but think here is just the intensity of this racing. I mean, these guys are just going full out, trying to get what they can get. And it's fun to watch. That's why I appreciate all the viewers. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this stuff. Been crazy. Been crazy to see.
Yeah, I know that Fuller is, he's not going to lay down here.
No. And
but the one I'd be worried about is Parker sitting back there.
You know what?
I really believe the aggression of Joss Parker, looking at the two of them possibly coming together and sneaking by.
Don't want to be the guy that flashes back to the Xfinity race here we had. Now, Kevin King has obviously been in a Coke Series before, as we're going to go to overtime, by the way, here. In the Xfinity race, if everybody remembers, it was the Braxton DeWeese car that was in the lead at this moment, and Justin Fuller restarted on the outside. Fuller was able to outrun DeWeese off of the top side in turn 4 and take the lead of the race and go to victory lane. Again, kind of apples to oranges here, and that's no disrespect to Braxton. It's, you know, Kevin's been where he's been, and Braxton's got good driving talent too, but you could almost maybe see something similar here, where Fuller can hang on that right rear or to the door of Kevin in the 1, the game opens up.
Yeah, my fear is for a driver like Tyler Dalton, who's sitting back there. If any of these top drivers get a little over ambitious and somebody gets sideways, Dalton will be first on the scene, and/or anybody right behind him. That could be Donaldson and Coleman and Comstock. All of these guys have worked very hard for a top 10. How about, have we said this name tonight? Randy Yoakum, currently in 10th, the Virginia 811.com Camaro, having an outstanding run here at Dover.
Well, I know he's got some damage on that A car, but yeah, he's doing a great job tonight. He just obviously was involved in that little scuffle there a second ago, as E.J. O'Rourke is laying a burnout down over in turn 4 for some reason. Not sure what
EJ
that's
doing
about.
EJ things.
That's a good way to put it. Back here.
He's a creative individual, I have to say.
Slightly.
In a good way.
EJ was a part of the fiascos of last night, the end of that race. Oh, I see. A little friendly, a little friendly tap between former. Whoa!
Oh yeah, that's
All right,
interesting.
then. That's
That's a little personal comfort for you.
I was gonna say he used to be a personal comfort guy, and now he's personal spinning.
I think that's a little playful.
Think so.
Exuberant.
Yes.
Honestly.
All right, so 2 overtimes. Here's the first one. Kevin King kind of rolling up the track a little bit here with Fuller. He's going to turn it down likely here to get the restart. A little shortcut, if you will. See if he does so. He doesn't actually go. Oh, woo, hold on, Parker. There's some wheel spin. That's going to cost him big time.
Take Parker out of the mix. So we don't have
And
to
now
worry
they're
about-
wrecking. Big pile up here as Medina, Mons, Job.
Ouch.
And now Calantoni gets clipped at the end. Insult to injury.
He might have been at Dover yesterday. He might have wished he'd stayed overnight there, Calantoni.
Right.
I saw Kyle Tarasco is at Dover. Speaking of personal comfort, he runs the personal comfort sponsorship on his TQ midget. I don't know. We talked about this. He was on his roof at Wall Stadium last week.
That's never good. AJ got damage in that thing. I wonder if iRacing's having issues. I noticed there's some blinking going on out here. Now, not saying my computer's perfect. I've had some blinking at times too, but yeah. We just started. Obviously, you see Parker there kind of spins the tires. Mons spins the tires. Gonzalez goes through. Oh, Mons is just trying to hold on the whole entire time there. EJ.
That's what I was just saying. So we just talked about this, right? He was down past the start-finish line. You thought it was all over? And like I said, maybe we can go in-car and look, but he wrestled the car the whole time. He was not under control. And it looks like it's right, but you're the driver and you just keep chasing and chasing and chasing. Yeah. I mean, he was 3/4 of the way down the straightaway when he finally stepped out and went sideways.
Let me go back to it here again so we can get it from the start. So he's in first gear to restart. He tries to get it. Second gear.
Got a little bump. Now he's straight, trying to pick up the gear, comes into third, and the car.
You almost have to short shift. Easier
But
said
you know,
than
we
done,
don't talk about first or second. Conventionally, you want to start in second, but when the chips are on the line, you might try that extra little something to start in first. But the opportunity to spin the tires in first is monumental, which is why a lot of guys try to avoid it. But when the chips are on the line, you're going to do whatever you can to give you the performance advantage.
All right, so hypothetically here, coming to 2 to go, we should be coming to 1 to go this time by to go green. You talked a little bit about bumpers earlier, and I know you had a point to make off of that, but speaking of those bumpers, you think Fuller's going to use it on Kevin if he gets to him?
I think if I'm Fuller, I don't know that I want to do that. I think I just need a clean line to get down underneath, and then I'm going to get alongside of them, and 8 wheels are better than 4.
Use them up.
I would rather do that than a bumper, quite honestly.
Let me throw another suggestion at you. If you're Kevin King, why not try the high side here? You have the start in your control. If you can get clear, you've cleared Fuller. Otherwise, you have the top side. Are you worried that Fuller gets a good start and pushes you up the track? We just have to
That's
counter
what I
here.
do. Oh.
Okay.
By the way, there's drivers down on the apron. I wonder if they're
There might
fuel?
be some.
Is that a fuel thing
It
going
might
on
be a
there?
fuel thing, but it might also be a cheesing thing. I hate to say that word. What's down there? A bunch of rubber. Cooled tires down.
I wonder if that actually works.
When you cool the tires down, you don't have the wheel spin.
You know, on a dirt track, they tell you, a real dirt track, to sometimes cool your tires off, you run out of the lane.
Right, and that's what you see a lot of that on iRacing. A lot of people go up there and.
But I've never heard anybody say that's in the tire model here.
Now, I've seen it, believe it or not, people got in trouble for this. I think it was 2 years ago, in the Spa 24 race I actually raced in. We found in top split, people were actually driving up the back straightaway towards Blanchmont, were actually sticking their left rear tire out in the grass a little bit, and it was keeping that wheel cool the whole entire time.
Look, if you could find the advantage, you're going to exploit it. There's nothing wrong with that. Air is free and all that kind of strategy.
I mean, the
right?
integrity of me racing, it gets kind of frustrated thinking about that kind of stuff, but it's like,
I'm
yeah, I
disappointed
understand
that I'm
it.
dumb enough not to know.
Yeah, I understand it. You know, you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Well, riding on the apron is a tactic. It's not
Right.
cheating.
True.
All right, here we go. Leaderboard: King, Fuller, Macklin, Dalton, Rivera, Coleman, Donaldson, Comstock. They're going to lead you back to green. And can Kevin King hang on? Or will Justin Fuller get the nod here? I like the bottom, honestly. If I can go into turn 1 and I'm a little behind, I can run the guy up the racetrack. And I certainly am going to get the win here from a good jump. So let's see how this start goes for Mr. King.
I think Fuller's going to try to time this thing pretty well, knowing when King is likely going to go. And here he goes, green flag. Fuller
see
gets a
whether-
pretty good start here.
Yeah, he's there.
3 wide back there. This is the final restart, by the way. This is restart number 2 of the overtime. Fuller is there on the outside, crossover, and wrecks himself, unfortunately, on the front end of
He's just
Macklin.
took everybody with him. Yeah.
A
And
for
they're still
effort.
crashing. Wow.
I give him the credit for doing it. Holy cow, he tried.
And he crosses the stripe. Kevin King.
Yeah, the
We're
caution's
not
out,
gonna
I
go
think.
back to green,
Yeah.
and he's going to pick up the pace car and come away your winner with Rivera and Dalton. They cleared that melee. Chad Coleman, David Comstock, top 5. And you got to say, for Fuller, he did what he had to
He
do
tried.
trying to
Yeah.
win.
Oh,
Can't fault him
man.
for that.
A for effort for Fuller.
That's a bring me back the checkered flag or the steering wheel moment.
Hope he's okay with the wheel. As Kevin King is going to celebrate his 3rd win in 4 races, pretty much ever since the Easter weekend. He has taken off 1 at Homestead, 1 at Texas, and now he's going to come off turn number 4, and it was like he had all those rough finishes at the beginning of the season, and now the gates have opened. As Kevin King brings her through the corner, and he sees a checkered flag and a win here at Dover. Tyler Dalton 2nd, Nelson Rivera 3rd, Chad Coleman ends up 4th, and David Comstock 5th. Joe Hudson finishing in the 9th position after all his issues earlier in this race.
Yeah, Randy Yoakum got a piece of that back there, but he was flat sideways, 90 degrees, trying to avoid all that. And I have no idea how he drove out of that. And he's going to rescue a top 10 finish, fortunately. But good hands of the race go to Randy Yoakum for that run over there in 3 and 4 on that final corner.
It's a crazy finish in the end here at Dover Motor Speedway. A fantastic race. I mean, that was just great to watch.
Yeah.
Finish obviously had a little rough there at the end, but needless to say, still some great stuff there. As King going to burn her down.
I think we have not seen the end of this scene here. I know where it's over, and it could easily be repeated next week at Kansas as One of the legacies of his career in sim racing is when he gets on a roll, he starts knocking them down. And I don't know if he'll ever get to double digits this year, but I don't think we've seen the end of him pulling down the checkered flag as we go through the season.
Good stuff there from the 29 as he celebrates over in that turn 4 section. He'll come back and likely park it here at the start-finish line as we'll take a look at the finishing results here from Dover's. King wins it over Tyler Dalton. Nelson Rivera third. Chad Coleman, David Comstock, your top 5. Beasley finishes in 6th. Parker 7th. Jose Gonzalez 8th. Joe Hudson 9th. Scott Simley 10th. Patrick Colby, a good 11th place run for him. Randy Yoakum, Mike Kelly, EJ O'Rourke, Kevin Stone finishing in the 15th position there. 16th to Ron Alasso, Stoney Benfield 17th, Mons 18th, Sigmund and Coleman, your top 20. Brian Wortman 21st, Charles Van Schaik 22nd, Bobby Wetzel 23rd, Macklin and Wesley Donaldson 24th and 25th, Stenzel 26th, Jobs 27th, Fuller 28th, Mitten and Wild end up 29th and 30th, Medina 31st, Calantoni 32nd, Leah 33rd, Kevin DeBrown 34th, Montesi, Jatina, Giles, Stone, Schrader, Jorgensen, Livingston, and Robert Friery, unfortunately, 42nd on the grid. As we will go down here and talk to our top 3, starting with Nelson Rivera, who gets himself a great finish here tonight. Congratulations to him. As I slide myself into the channel here and pull up the driver of the 22 car here tonight. Nelson, congratulations on a top 3 finish in what was a wild race. You kept yourself up there in the top 10 and competitive all night and showed the speed in that 22. And we'll take a little luck there at the end to get a top 3.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. A little bit of luck to finish where I finished. But you know what they say, if you're in contention, anything can happen. Yeah, little questioning on the final order because it looks like when the yellow came out, looks like I was in front of Tyler, but I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, watching the replay, but we'll discuss that after the race with the guys. But yeah, it feels good to run well. Of course, you know it's been a few weeks since I speak to you guys, so yeah, this is a good run for us.
What's about this track? Because, Kevin brought up last year you won the pole at this race. Obviously showing that you got the speed at this track. What is it that makes you feel pretty comfortable here?
Well, to be honest with you, yeah, I love Dover, right? But Thursday we had a practice race like we do every Thursday.
Series, right.
And yeah, and I didn't run very well at all. I mean, granted, there was only 10 guys in the room racing, so everyone was guaranteed a top 10, but I didn't feel comfortable, so I made some adjustments and they worked tonight.
Well, hey man, it worked out, and obviously a good points night for you. I know they'll get updated here shortly, and we'll see where you're at, either third or second place finish, as you mentioned. Let me see here if they're up here yet. They're actually updated already. You are officially 7th now in points, so obviously making good way there, making yourself comfortable there. Obviously, as 20 cars get into the playoffs here, so that's got to be satisfying.
Yes, very comfortable. That's just in case I miss a couple of races here in the regular seasons. In the regular season, I know I'm in pretty good shape for with the points.
Well, great job tonight, Nelson. And side note, make sure you're not the fan sitting next to Aaron Boone yelling at the umpire. And
I would never do that.
Send some shout out to whoever you like to.
Yeah, shout out to actually Rob Friery, who won the Xfinity race last night. Great run for him. He needed that. Things weren't going well, so shout out to him. Shout out to the rest of the LaRue Esport guys, and to NC811, of course, the sponsors. Shout out to the admins and you guys.
Great job tonight, man. Congratulations on your P3.
Thank you.
Absolutely. As Nelson Rivera finishes, well, as of right now, P3. He's going to chat with the admins and see what takes place there. But right now, unofficially, in the 3rd position in that 22 car. So congratulations to him. And you can't say momentum's not working here. As Tyler Dalton finishes in P2, Kev, you have caught up with the South Carolina driver.
Yeah, winner last week and second tonight at Dover. How about this season you're putting together, Tyler? You got 1 win, 6 top 5s, 7 top 10s in 9 starts. If it wasn't for the fact that Kevin has been paramount to flawless, you are at the top of the heap from performance this year. Is this what you were looking for out of 2024?
Well, yeah, it's definitely nice to have some consistency. Just been trying to put ourselves in good spots. I think maybe when the caution came out, probably was third, but we go off iRacing official results and it goes off a scoring loop. So I guess we hit a scoring loop right before, but there was a couple times there at the end. I was happy just to finish fifth, sixth, where I was at there. Didn't want the caution to come out, and yeah, when they wrecked in front of me, I thought I was destroyed and somehow snuck through there. But yeah, this season and it's almost a complete opposite of what's happening on Sunday, which is really weird. I consider myself better in the Xfinity car than the Cup car, but we've been actually finishing where we were running in the Cup car, or even a little bit better. I think maybe we had like a top 5 car tonight. Definitely not a second place car. But in the Xfinity car, we just can't finish where we run. And tonight, we finished better than we ran. So it was always nice to have one of those nights.
Yeah, what comes around goes around. I guess that's just racing luck. It was an eventful night. Take us through the way the car handled the tire wear and some of your observations running this tricky racetrack tonight.
Yeah, well, I messed up in qualifying and had to do a one lapper, and that put us back starting not great. And I just couldn't take off in the beginning of the run like I saw a lot of other guys do. And I was saving the tires and they were starting to come back, but every time they would start to come back for me, caution would come out and then everyone's going to pit and take tires. So we used a little bit of strategy not to pit the first time to get up there and lead some laps. Then next time I think we pitted, we came in and I just took 2, trying to gain a little bit more track position. I knew the lefts were wearing decent, but it didn't seem like it really bothered them. Was able to still hold at least for about 15, 20 laps. Was still really fast on 2 and then settled into about 5th and was able to ride there. And that was able to let us keep the track position there at the end. And then there at the very end, had a couple issues with guys spinning tires. The top definitely was the lane you wanted to be in on the restarts. I had to start on the bottom one time, and it was not fun. So I don't envy those guys that were spinning the tires down there on the bottom, but I'll definitely take it. Nice to have two good weeks in a row, a win and then a second, and hopefully we can keep this stretch going.
Yeah, and I'm sure heading into Kansas, I know how good you are there. So I expect to see more of the same. Tell us about coming up off the corner tonight. We saw so many drivers both getting loose and the other driver sliding up and brushing the right side against the wall. It looked like you had your hands full from the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, when you were in clean air, it felt pretty stable, but when you got in dirty air, the car just never felt planted coming off of the corner. You get back in the gas, it just felt floaty. So it wasn't loose, it wasn't tight, but it just wasn't stable. So I think that's why you saw a lot of loose and tight off the corner, because it just never really got in the track when you were in the dirty air, especially early on in a run.
Yeah, so officials will take a look at the series finish and render that. Probably next week we can give an update, but right now, as it stands, second place and another outstanding run put together in a season that's going great for you, Tyler. Tell us who helps you get to the racetrack.
Yeah, I just want to thank South Carolina and North Carolina 811. Great sponsor for both our Monday and Sunday night series. Trend Service Logistics, sponsor for our Wednesday night series. All the teammates down there in the Sim500 Mafia. Sucks for Wesley. I know he was right there with me and was going to have a really good finish. Looks like he got ran over there under that last wreck. So I hate it for him. With all the good luck I've been having, he's been having the opposite. So hopefully he can get some of this good luck coming shortly. But thank you all for putting on the broadcast, and I'll see you at Kansas.
There you go, Tyler Dalton, credited with the second place finish tonight, having an outstanding season, and we're looking for more. Now we're going to turn it over to Chris, who has caught up with our winner, Kevin King.
Yeah, getting used to talking to Kevin here a little bit, as Kevin does a great job, as wins this race officially by 1.5 seconds over Richard Beasley.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I was just watching his ascension there through the field.
Yeah,
it's pretty impressive.
Obviously, man, that had to be a lot of fun. I'm guessing there might have been some frustration in there, but you guys up front there, especially with about 40 to go, were just having the time of your life. It looked like.
Yeah, I tried to save tires because I knew they would run pretty hard. It felt like, so I was trying to save tires the best I could, and I don't know if they low fueled. I didn't, which I probably should have. But they, Donnie had some speed up top, which was pretty impressive. And I know if you're within like 0.3 of the leader or something, you get the leader pretty loose. And I couldn't really kind of get away from that little area. So I think we probably would have stayed like that for the majority of the rest of the race. My biggest concern was the tire difference for some of these guys, and having one set of tires with like 40 laps to go would have been a little sketchy. But thankfully it was around 30 or so when we actually put them on, or 35 or something. So it was a lot easier to kind of coordinate the pace at that point. But yeah, it was pretty fun. I felt pretty good going to the race, but those yellows kind of just kept screwing up my strategy a little bit. I was like, man, I'm just going to get beat by a weird strategy on tires, and it's going to piss me off. But thankfully it didn't happen.
Well, obviously it worked out, and to be able to get 3 wins here in the last 4 races, obviously now, and looks like a minimal gain tonight on Tyler as he finished second there in the race. Obviously worked out, but the racing itself, how it was able to spread out. I know you're one that usually will hang out a little bit and let those tires come to you as the long run is. Obviously you've got plenty of experience of doing that kind of thing, but like the cars tonight, just how we were able to spread from the bottom to the wall had to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I knew that everyone would kind of be all over the place from top to bottom, depending on where the grip was. I was pretty committed to the middle, if I had to be, but I tried to run the low line as much as I could because I knew it was just gonna be the best on tires. It's just you have to be very, very easy with the throttle, especially coming off the corner. It has to be perfectly straight. Whereas the middle, you can kind of get away with arcing a little bit more and entering or exiting straighter. So you feel like you're saving tires, but typically you're burning them up because you're just carrying more speed all the way through. So I had to just make sure that even though I wasn't catching them quickly, that I knew that maybe my pace and my line was going to work out in the long run, which it did. So yeah, it was definitely fun. I mean, if I had to go up to the top, to pass some guys, I think I could have. But I think once I caught some of those guys, they were struggling so much where I can just run the bottom and kind of gas up if I needed to and pass them that way. So a little bit easier to do that on tires and long run speed. So I was happy I didn't have to rip the fence too much because I probably just would have welded anyways.
How much, obviously, how tricky, I should say, is where I'm trying to go with this passing wise, because one thing Kevin and I talked about, this track, when you make a pass, especially coming off the corner, you need the whole entire track to make the pass. It's not like one of those where you can just kind of slide to the inside and stay low because you slide up onto a 9-degree bank straightaway. Talk about how tough that made it out there on the track to pass, especially when you had a groove open up like it did.
Yeah, I think that's the most frustrating place or thing about this place, right? Where you have such a run on some people, even with like Fuller, he was shifting, which I knew wasn't going to be sustainable long run. He was able to just, if you gas it up all the way through the center and you're next to someone, like the arrow keeps you tight on the bottom. You can't get the car pointed with momentum on the bottom enough to where you need to go into the corner and arc down. So you really just have to be super patient with that, because I think here with the dynamic track stuff, the high line / middle definitely becomes a preferred lane to try to hold people off. And you have to be, I feel like you have to be like a tenth and a half faster than someone on pure pace to be able to just drive by them on the bottom, because otherwise they can just sit on your door and make it super difficult. Right. So I knew that was going to be a thing. I was hoping when he drove away from me, it was going to be to my advantage. And I figured like 20 laps to go or so that I would start going a little harder. That way I could build a gap in case a yellow came out. And I barely got by him and a yellow did come out. But I was kind of worried when I went under him one time and he just kind of gassed it up. And I was like, oh man, this might be harder than I thought. But I think his tires were just loose enough to where Once I did finally get a good run on him, he couldn't really maintain that pace up top with the gear he was running, so it made it a little easier. But it's definitely difficult, but it also makes it fun, right? It's a challenge. It shouldn't always be easy where you can just drive by someone. To be able to go out there and find ways to get around people, even if you have to be a little aggressive with it. I think that's the fun part of it.
Well, great job tonight. Congratulations, and send some shout out to whoever you like to.
Yeah, I want to shout out Richard Beasley. I saw him mired in a deep 30 place or so throughout the race, and he was able to capitalize on the attrition there at the end and squeak by for a 6th. Though I'm sure he's ecstatic. He's probably going to hop onto the show and probably buy a couple stubs so he can rip some packs later tonight. So I'll go chat with him to see how he's feeling. But no, it was a good race. I thought it was going to be great overall. I appreciate all the guys having, for the most part, having a pretty clean race. When people knew you're faster, they let you go, which is awesome. I try to do the same thing. If people want to go, I just say, hey man, hopefully I can catch you later and pass them back. So appreciate you guys for putting on the show. I can't wait to go back and watch to see how it all looked, and hopefully we can do it again next week.
Well, great job tonight. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week at Kansas.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
You too. Kevin King, the winner here tonight at the Dover Motor Speedway, and what was a wild race. Appreciate Tim, of course, being up here with us. And to Kevin England, obviously, that was one of the better races I think we've had this season, with the way that the racing was, especially how the track widened out, the 10 to 20 lap battle between he, Fuller, and Leah. Just great stuff. I mean, yeah, we had a couple cautions kind of plague it at the end there, but the racing was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I really don't think that you get any better racing than what we saw in that one segment. That was just worth the price of admission. And you know what? When we opened the show, we talked about the dynamics of this racetrack, and it did not disappoint. We saw everything and more in spades all the way through. And how about Kevin King, man? He's just as a veteran showing these guys how to get the job done. It just shows he's got more juice in the tank. Unbelievable performance.
Yeah, obviously it was a lot of fun to watch here tonight, Kevin. Looking forward to Kansas next week. We'll click our heels and head west and go enjoy the 1.5 mile track. And, of course, Sunday night we have racing at Nashville Super Speedway. So I got some great racing coming up here for Sim500. And as we get into Day 3 tomorrow of league racing here on the Captain Esports Network, we appreciate your chance to be with you tonight, man. And we'll see you next Monday.
Yep.
All right, buddy. Kevin England, of course, as always, joining the captain here in the booth on Monday nights here for Sim500 Racing. A big shout out for 811 for, of course, being the official sponsor of the series here tonight. Big shout out to the drivers, the viewers that hung out tonight. Appreciate all the comments and stuff in chat. Dover, man, what a great race that was for a track that has taken a lot of beating here the last couple of years for the racing and stuff at the track. And of course, there's been those rumors that the track might lose the one race it had left and so on and so forth. But obviously, you see here on iRacing, it put on a good show as per usual. So, again, thank you to the viewers, Sim500, Joey Jatina, for allowing me to broadcast on Sunday and Monday nights. And we'll see you back here again next Sunday night for Xfinity Racing from Nashville. Otherwise, remember, this isn't just a game, it's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.